Welcome back. Prestige Estates reported weak numbers as expected, and joining us now is Mr. Irfan Razack, the Chairman and Managing Director of Prestige Estates. Mr. Razack, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Before I come to the numbers, and we have plenty of questions on them, we understand that you are looking at selling some of your rental assets, commercial rental assets. Is there anything you can update us on?
There's nothing really to update. It's come in the media a few days ago, but it's just discussions that we are exploring with many funds who are showing interest. It's the retail portfolio as well as the office portfolio, but it's a long way to go before something happens. And when it does happen, I'll come back to you quickly.
Okay. Okay, now if you can give us some idea of how sales has been in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, actually, last 6 weeks have been extremely good. Of course, during the lockdown, 1.5 months was bad. That's why the sale figure has dipped in the quarter of June. But July and August have done very well. Though even in July, we had a week of lockdown in Bengaluru, but the other centers have picked up, like Hyderabad has done well. And I think we should just bounce back to the pre-COVID days in this quarter, in the current quarter.
Okay.
Maybe even exceed that.
Can you give us some breakups of the different segments, residential, commercial? Where is this bounce back more visible?
Yeah, it's basically for when we talk about sales, it's mostly in the residential sector. People are committing to buy homes, and that's happening across. In fact, the good part is even luxury homes are being bought. More expensive homes are being, sort of committed by customers. And that's a very good sign, because people have realized that maybe when they're getting locked down, they may as well have more space for themselves. So that's a good sign. And all in all, there is a very positive feeling amongst us that because we were thinking that things may not be that good, there could be job loss and things like that, and people may not commit, may not buy. But it's the other way around. But of course, you see, there's another thing that's happening, is that there's a lot of consolidation happening. Everybody is looking at, if they are committing, let us commit with the best. So that way, I think we are fortunate enough, and this is only what is the karma that we've done in the past that is catching up, where we've delivered, we've got the confidence of the clients, and hence we are not feeling that pain at all in the residential sector.
Okay.
Mr.
Razack, yes, if you can put some number to that hope that you have given us, that the last 6 weeks are seeing a lot more demand. You did 560,000 square feet in the first quarter, 0.56 million square feet. Is there something you can, now that half the quarter is gone, how much may you do this quarter? How much may you do Q3?
Yeah. See, now we did 460 odd crores in the June quarter and 0.65 lakh square feet, Lata. And now in this quarter, we will more than double it. That's it, because like you rightly said, we've got 1.5, half the quarter has already gone by, and we will cross the 4-figure mark. So that's a very positive sign as far as we are concerned.
Okay, that's interesting, sir. But is this happening because discounting and freebies are going up? I know, maybe there's not a price cut, but in general, is the push coming because of more schemes and more freebie offerings?
On an average, what are the realizations?
See, this is what we have kept ourselves away, because I believe that customers buying a long-term asset, so those temporary freebies, giving a gold coin, doing this is something that is just a short-term inducement. At the end of the day, the customer wants to see they get their home. They get their home the way that's been specified and within the timeline that has been specified. And of course, we also do have a ready home festival where we've done a very, very good numbers in the ready home festival, because, another thing is, in the last year or so, we've completed a lot of large projects. So hence, the customers can actually physically see the type of overall look and feel of the development, and literally see the apartment that they are buying, and hence that's the only reason why the multiplier is happening. And I don't know whether this this freebie stuff will last out for too long, because customer is also intelligent and will look through that and see exactly what he's getting, because nobody is going to give anything from their pocket unless there's some desperation. And I don't see any desperation coming in.
Mr. Razack, what is the debt that you have, and what do you think you'll be able to do by the end of the year? I mean, I'm very clearly prodding more on Blackstone. Did you converse with them? How much are you planning to sell to Blackstone or anyone? And therefore, how much will debt reduce?
Yeah, that's an absolutely super question, Lata. We are discussing with several people who are looking at our assets. And if the whole idea is, in case we do a deal, and if that deal happens, is to get a cash surplus. And if that doesn't, if that results in that, that means actually today half the earning of the company goes off in the debt servicing itself. But these are all thoughts. These are all things which we are also contemplating. At the end of the day, when we do a transaction, we'll really see what will happen, what will we do with debt. Because today my 50% or 60% of my debt is for the lease rental discounting, which is serviceable through the rental incomings that are coming in. So it's really, there's no stress in the system. But the overall idea is, if at all, if you take that extreme step and say, listen, because there are 3-4 ways in a way we can monetize our assets, so that there is some ease in the system. One is that you can do a REIT, which is a strong possibility. And the other is this route, or a combination of A plus B. So these are being contemplated, and we'll have to see how it pans out.
Sure.
And if it does pan out the way we are thinking, and it's good for us, we'll be a cash surplus company, we'll be a debt-free company, and we'll probably be... And another thing that we are doing is, there's a lot of development, and especially CapEx projects, both office as well as retail, in the pipeline. We've committed developments in Pune, Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, and of course in Bangalore. So that's about 30 million square feet of office and retail that's coming up. And hence, it's a balance that we need to do.
Razack, just a quick question on these commercial assets. First of all, has all the rent that was due to you in the first quarter been paid? And B, are people seeking lower rent? A lot of this new space that's coming up, are there already conversations happening to renegotiate the contracts lower?
Yeah, now as far as office is concerned, fortunately, we've got the top of the line blue chip companies occupying our spaces. So they've all paid the rent. So we've got about 99% of rent for the last, from the lockdown, I could say, from April onwards, April, May, June, July, even August. Then as far as companies, there are some companies trying to restructure themselves. Some may be wanting to give up some space. But then the good news is, it's not that I don't have another customer for it. So back to back, there are some takers for it. And there is no major renegotiation or any renegotiation for that matter, except that in certain cases where there's a trigger of, say, there's an increase in rent that is coming up, and then they are coming back to us and saying, listen, we are locked down, we are not working from office. Please defer the rental increase for a year or so. So we have also to be a little open-minded on that, and we just can't look at the contract, and we have to keep a relationship with the client. So that's about it. That is what is happening. There's no drastic demand for rental reduction. And whoever feels that they've got surplus space, there's nothing you can do. As per the contract, they can give you a notice, and then they will have to fill the space back. And that is happening back to back. Like recently, we had a transaction and we did a development for Accenture, more or less like purpose built. Now we've signed the lease deed. 660,000 square feet, and the rent also has started coming in. So that's the positive. And then there was some additional space there, even that they are takers for it. So net, I think it's not all gloom and doom.
All right.
And I think the theory of WFH, fine, there may be a balance. That's what's going to do is it's only going to increase the bandwidth for these companies. and they can do much more revenues.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Razack, for looking at the positive side as well, that businesses will use WFH to actually do more business and not necessarily give back office space. Thank you very much for joining us. The market has given back in the meanwhile some of the gains, and we're seeing a bit of red on the Nifty Bank. Okay, it's flat again. In a jiffy, it's picked up as well.
It has, and I tell you what, pharma has picked up once again. It went through that 2-3 day consolidation, but just look at some of the leading stocks. Dr. Reddy's, I think that's the one where you saw some shorts. Look at the pharma index, it's up 2% now. Dr. Reddy's, which has seen some shorts over the last couple of days, is leading this move. That's higher. Sun Pharma, Aurobindo Pharma that we spoke about in the morning, and Divi's Labs. Just look at some of these stocks. So this could be perhaps one of the themes today, because a lot of these stocks, after consolidating for 2-3 days, and that's what leadership stocks do. They consolidate for at best 2-3 days and then break out, and that's what is happening in the pharma space. We have Mitesh Thakkar and Prakash Kaba now joining us back again. Mitesh, so not too much on the index, though mid caps again doing well. Your thoughts on the index and your stock calls?
Yeah, Anuj, good morning again. I think we're back to 11,360. We're back to seeing the index stall around those levels, and let's see how the later half of the day plays out. I think if it, and I've been saying this much, if we get an hourly closing above that, I think we will possibly venture into a long position over here with a 35-40 point kind of a stop. And on the stock side, I have a buy on United Spirits, keep a stop below 592, look for targets of 625, and Ultratech is a conditional buy. If it breaks 40.75, buy with a stop at 40.30 for targets of 4,200.
Okay, and Prakash, what would be your calls?
I have two calls here. I think Reliance looks good. Very good chance it can climb to 21.75 to 21.80-85 zones. Stop below 21.25 should be fine on Reliance. And I like Glenmark Pharma. Possibly we'll see a move to 490 to 495 zones where they got a bit. Stop below 469 should be okay.
Mitesh, Dr. Reddy's and Divi's Labs, just look at the charts and tell us if there's any move building up in both these names.
Anuj, you were just highlighting the pharma pack, and even I was looking at it, very interesting. After a few days of pullback, I think stocks like Sun, Aurobindo, Lupin, Dr. Reddy's, Divi's, I think have started to pick up again. The key here could be Divi's Lab. I think it's been very contracting between levels of 31.65, 31.70 to about 30.50. I think we might get a breakout very soon about 31.70, and once that happens, a 3,300 target can be taken as a trading target on the upside to begin with. Similarly, on Dr. Reddy's, I would want to see the stock start getting past 4,600. Once that happens, I think a break above the recent highs of 47.50 looks very likely.
But Anuj, there has been kind of musical chairs, especially when I write out the headlines for markets today. 2 days in a row, I say autos and auto ancillaries leading the pack. Pharma is a down day. And the next day, or in a couple of days, you're writing that pharma leads the pack. It's just passing the baton.
It's been, but within that, if you see a larger chart, pharma clearly is the leader. I mean, that nobody should have any doubt about.
Yesterday, Oro, in spite of good numbers, did not show up because it was a down day for pharma.
Also because it had run up a lot, so that's why. But really, I think, Lata, both these names, Divi's and Dr. Reddy's, I think you have to stick to leaders. And, ones which have corrected after going through a bit of a run. And both these names today are showing a fresh breakout. And that's why I'm giving importance to these two names, because that's where, the fresh move is happening.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mitesh and Prakash as well. With that, we turn to the other set of trades at 10, the commodity trades. Morning again, Manisha.
Morning, Lata. Thank you for that. Well, early Asia, we started the metals on a very flat note, but there is some buying coming in now, and you will have to give it to the metals because despite all kind of data and news events that have been coming in, we have seen the base metal prices continue to gain up. From the March and April lows, most of these metal prices are now above nearly 15 to 50% on the higher side as well. Today as well, it has been about the weak US dollar, the US jobless claims numbers coming in better than street expectation, the resilience that you've seen in the equity markets, strong data continuing from China. All of that have been factors that have been supportive. So while copper has had its run, we've seen three other metals which are really catching up now. Nickel, for one, is back to its pre-COVID levels now. We have seen prices gain up because of the supply disruptions in two major countries, that is Philippines and Indonesia. Zinc is another one. We have seen inventories continue to decline and Chinese automobile numbers have gone better. So global zinc prices have continued to gain. This one also is trading at a 6-month highs in Asia right now. And And the other is aluminum, where we have seen the aluminum inventories decline. So this one also has been gaining. All of these metals are now up by nearly 3 to 5% in this quarter itself. So good going here. Of course, the markets will continue to watch for the US and China stimulus conversation, and it is the US and China trade relations, the first phase trade review that is happening tomorrow. That would give you further direction here, but another week where we are closing the metals on the higher side.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Manisha. In our next round, can you give us an Atmanirbhar trade? You're in Independence Day gear, so next one should be maybe rice or oil seeds. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to take a break, and I said oil seeds with a reason, because we're going to speak to a seed company. Joining us after the break is Mithun Chand, the Executive Director, Kaveri Seeds. Yes.